Hey tribe, welcome back. Welcome back to Live Life Your Terms. I'm Chad, by the way. In this video, we're gonna have some major fun in this video because what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tell you a story, what I just went through, or what I kind of been struggling with on and off. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tell you a story and everybody's gonna be able to relate to this story indirectly. I'm talking about the habits we're doing, not that you're having the same exact experience I'm having. Okay, let's clarify that. But you're going to be able to relate to the story. And what we're going to do is after I'll tell you the story, part two here is we're going to dive deeper into how does it relate to identity work and how does it relate to manifesting. Okay, my friends? And another disclaimer I kind of want to put out there. Lately, I kind of been doing videos like this where I kind of share the screen, we go over stuff. It kind of looks like a script. But I'm not actually making a script for a video. Basically what's happening is, I love to go deep into this material. I love to go deep into manifesting success, living life your terms, whatever you want to call it, law of assumption, law of attraction. I love to go deep in these principles, the laws of the universe, and how does it relate to me? You know what I mean? But then what ends up happening is when I'm going deep and doing research, I kind of put stuff together and I think, ooh, I need to share this with everybody. So that's what ends up happening when I start sharing a screen and going over a lot of stuff. But anyway, lo and behold, what is my wonderful story I want to tell you? Okay, now I'm not too sure how long this story is going to be, but we got this bird flying in the background on my computer screen. But you might want to make some popcorn, make some fudge, and have some soda and sit down and listen to my story here. Then in part two, we'll start dissecting this. But my story is, and I've been kind of feeling this way kind of on and off, like sometimes I'll just have not so much a negative experience in Thailand, but I kind of been struggling with that kind of fight or run kind of identity. You know what I mean? Like there's really kind of, when we talk about this, you're either a fighter or you're a flighter. If that's a word. You either stay and remain in the mess and the chaos, or you tend to run from it. And when you run from it, what I mean is you end up running back to your comfort zone. Okay? And that's something I've kind of noticed in me kind of as I got older, or I became way more self-aware of it. And I really noticed it, not the whole time I've been in Thailand, but really when I've been up in Surin. And right now, I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but we're up in Surin. We've been up here for like 10 months up at Ang's house. Her dad lives up here. And so we've been taking care of her dad and stuff like that. But being up here, kind of long story short, is I thought there's really nothing to do up here. Okay, when I say nothing to do, I mean nothing to do. So I thought, well, that's perfect time for Chad to work on Chad, baby. You know what I mean? Do some identity work, go deep in me. And, it's almost like peeling an onion. And let me tell you, in the last 10 months, I've had at least 4 or 5 times, minimum 4 or 5 times, where I feel like I'm having a mental breakdown. You know what I mean? That, I want to run back to the United States, in my comfort zone. And when I have that kind of that fighter or running kind of identity where I want to run from things rather than face them and remain in a fire. Okay, that's what I kind of been feeling. That's why I've been fighting. But I've been self-aware enough that I've been catching myself. Okay. And this last time, I kind of had it yesterday, kind of yesterday and today, kind of happened to me again, where lots of times certain things will just trigger me. A lot of times Thailand, especially up here, can be very, very chaotic. It can be very noisy. Your neighbors can not even play music. Blast music all hours of the day and night, which we're kind of getting to a point that we got that settled. It was kind of like a great fight, but we ended up winning that fight. Long story short. But lots of times what will happen is, they'll start playing music, it will trigger me. And right away, I'll just be triggered right away. I'll be like, you know what? I want to go home. I just want to sit down, book a ticket, and go home. And no matter what the feeling of going home is, if the feeling is I just want to go home, reset, relax, recoup, whatever it is, kind of having that I don't know what to call it. Not really a breakdown, but more kind of that runner response. We want to run from things rather than face things. And what I kind of realized is I never really thought I was a runner, really, quite honestly. But it's just something I've really been kind of aware of since I've been up here. It's really been kind of exposing in me. But anyway, I started thinking back to like Bob Proctor when I used to be mentored by him. And one of the things what Bob taught me, and I also heard it in every single seminar I went to, because I used to live in Los Angeles for 18 years. Then when Bob would come to Los Angeles, I would go to all of his seminars. And one of the things he would say to me and in all his seminars is, if life isn't going your way, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in your 3D world, okay? If this stuff is not working for you, if manifesting isn't working for you, okay? Again, there's proof in the pudding. If you think manifesting, then the results should be coming. If it's not coming, your job is to figure out what you're doing, because you're the one stopping your own manifestations. Then he continues on and he said, the top reason is people have to be 100% honest with themselves. You understand, my friends? You have to be, even myself, 100% honest with yourself. And what I mean by that, he said this to me at least 10 years ago. And even now, it's digging deeper in me. Like, what did he really mean? Be 100% honest with yourself. It's because, listen to this. We're always operating from two identities. Okay, my friends? Meaning when we make decisions, like for me, for example, in this story, like me wanting to go home, but what's the deeper reason why do I want to go home? You understand what I'm saying? You have to be self-aware of why are you making decisions, okay? What's leading you to the decisions? And this is exposing the secret you, okay? It's not what anybody else knows about you. It's only you, okay? You're only watching this video right now. Okay, it's decisions, the real reasons you're making a decision. You understand what I'm saying? So listen to this. Like in my example, when I want to go home, okay, the real reason, if I go home and left right now, it wouldn't be, oh, I want to visit my mom, I want to visit my family. It wouldn't be that. I would make an excuse that it was that, but the real reason would be, I'm tired of Thailand. Thai people piss me off. Like I'm tired of the noise and the chaos. Okay, I'm tired of the boredom. You know what I mean? Okay, that would be the real reason. Okay, then that leads to that runner side of me because I'm not facing it. You understand? I'm not remaining in the fire. I drew the line in the sand and I'm running from it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's really the real reason I would be going home, not going home like on my standards, going home, meaning like I'm going home as the most successful version of me. I'm going home as a $15 million man. I'm going home because I want to visit my family. And while I'm there, I'm the one that pays for everything, or most of the time pays for everything, or treats people out. Now, I'm the one that pays for all the groceries for my mom. And then, then this coming summer, she's only need her air conditioner replaced. I'm the one that replaces everything. I'm the one operating from that most successful version of me. See, that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of, that's how you have to make decisions. You have to be aware enough that exposing that little secret you, the real reason you're doing something. Because listen to this, my friends, and we're going to jump on the computer here. We're going to dive deeper in this, is that what ends up happening is when you make a decision, there's only two yous that decision is coming from. If use is a word, okay? Maybe I'm making up that word. The two yous, okay? kind of reminds me of it's an old movie. It's called My Cousin Vinny, and Joe Pesci plays this attorney, but he has such like funny words and grammar issues, and it kind of reminds me of that movie, The Two U's. I think he says it in that movie. I think that's where I'm getting it, The Two U's. Okay, when you make a decision, you're making a decision from either your old identity, your current identity, or you're making a decision from the most successful version of you. And this is what really, that I'm kind of deep in that onion. That's really, I've been kind of self-aware of myself, you know, the deeper meaning of why am I really making decisions? And in my story, of course, why do I want to go home? You know what I mean? So other than that, let's jump on the computer because I wrote stuff out. I really want to share this stuff with you because it's so true. It's so powerful. So let's jump on the computer right now. Okay, let's get rocking. And I'm not going to wear my glasses this time, so I can see better when we have some romantic lighting going on. I should have brought a little bottle of wine in here, had a glass of wine, and had some candle, kind of almost like a candlelit dinner in here. But anyway, kind of the stuff I've been kind of talking about, sharing with you in this video, the first half of the video, is that this is exactly what Bob Proctor, Neville Goddard, Thomas Troward, Joseph Murphy were all pointing to when you said, and let me get the highlighter going here. I feel like highlighting. You must be brutally honest with yourself, okay? Not with other people, okay? You're not exposing the secret you to other people. It's really you sitting down and you being brutally honest with yourself. And you're being brutally honest with yourself with the hidden actions behind your decisions, the hidden thinking behind your decisions. Why are you really doing what you're doing? Okay, this is what I'm talking about. And this is what's really going to expose that old version of you. Or it could be that current self right now. Let's continue. But listen to this, because the truth is, it's never about the action, baby. It's the state of being the action comes from. Isn't it so true? And this is what I'm talking about. It's not about the action. Going back to my story, listen to this, it has nothing to do with me going home. That's the action, okay? It has nothing to do with the action. It has nothing to do with me going home. But listen, it has everything to do with the state of being the action comes from. It has everything to do with who am I really being, the reason why I want to go home. You understand what I'm saying, my friends? It has nothing to do with the action itself, okay? So let's break this down. Number one is, listen to this. Every action has a hidden identity behind it. This is why I'm kind of getting your feet wet a little bit. We're going to talk about identity here, okay? We're going to talk about the old you versus the most successful version of you, okay? You're the two yous in every decision you make. Listen, every action has a hidden identity behind it. There are only two identities you ever act from, okay? Now, there's identity A, and way down here, identity B. Now, identity A is your old self. Now, your old self, that's your current self right now. Your current self right now isn't going to take you to your dream life. Your current self is wrapped up to your bad habits, your bad patterns, your bad thinking. Okay, you think like a poor person, scarcity, fear, lack. Okay, you're thinking all that stuff. You're overanalyzing. You don't make decisions. That's the old you. Okay, and listen to this. This identity will ask, am I running from something? Am I going home because I can't handle something here? That's me right here, okay? Am I going home because I can't handle Thailand? It kind of really makes me think. And this should make you think because you can put your own story, your own decisions into this. Am I running from something? Am I going home because I can't handle something here? Am I hoping someone will comfort me or fix my state? That's another thing. If we run home, run back to an ex, or whatever we do, we run home, we think that, mom's going to take care of me. My parents going to take care of me. You know what I mean? When we should be taking care of our parents. You understand? Okay. And this is escape energy. Like from my story, it's escape energy. You're running from something, you're not remaining. And escape energy always manifests more chaos. Isn't that so true? Okay, this is why I kind of brought up in the beginning is you're either the one that stays and remains or you're a runner. Okay, but listen, when we talk about manifesting, if you're a runner, I'll repeat it one more time for you. If you're a runner, runner energy always manifests more chaos. Even if the action, visiting family, is harmless on the surface, the state behind it determines the outcome. I repeat it one more time because this is kind of really the walkaway of this video. Listen, even if the action, visiting the family, okay, you can put your action in there too. Okay, whatever the action is, it's harmless. Okay, but listen, the state behind it determines the outcome. It's your state, the real reason why you're doing stuff. Okay. It's almost like, listen to it this way. It's almost like if you go out to eat with a friend and when it comes time to bill time, you kind of get nervous, you get a knot in your stomach who's going to pay. Okay. You have that kind of scarcity, poverty state. Okay. That's the state behind, like the action is eating out. Okay. The action, it doesn't mean anything. But the meaning is that you don't have you have no money. The meaning is scarcity and poor, and that's what your subconscious picks up on. Like that's why Neville Goddard says that you're living in the wish fulfilled. Okay, it goes kind of a deeper meaning here. Listen, this is what Neville Goddard. Speaking about Neville Goddard, this is what Neville Goddard meant by you can do everything right, but if you do it in the wrong consciousness, it will fail. Isn't it so true? You can do everything right. Listen, you can do everything right. You can do all the right manifesting techniques. You can make all the right decisions. But if it's coming from a wrong state, you're still going to manifest that state. That's what we're talking about here. Now, with identity B, going back, identity B is that future self. Identity B is that most successful version of you. Okay, how you should be carrying yourself and acting from and making decisions from. Identity B, listen to this. Identity B asks, and this is where self-awareness really comes in. Do I go home as the successful version of me? Do I go home to give and not take? Do I walk in as the man who built himself, not who needs someone to hold him, to save him, to comfort him? You understand what I'm saying? And this changes everything. It becomes a visit from a leader, a provider, a creator, not a boy running home to recover. You understand? And that is what living in the wish fulfilled looks like in real life. Okay, it's kind of like the meaning we're giving things. You understand? Okay, even if you're going, I'll give you another scenario, and I'll give you money scenarios. Okay. I'll give you a shopping scenario, and if I remember, I'll give you paying a bill scenario. Now, let's say you're going shopping, just simple. You're going grocery shopping. And you go grocery shopping, you tend to walk around and look at the prices and stuff like that. You get little knots in your stomach. Oh, I can't buy this, can't buy that. You know, who are you being in that moment? Are you being the most successful version of you? Or are you being the person who can't afford it? You understand? There's only two versions of you. There are not 100 versions of you. There's only two versions of you. Okay, just like if you go to pay your bills, okay, do you kind of have little panic attacks or get anxiety over paying your bills? Or you kind of, when it comes bill time, you're like, oh, I gotta pay my bills now. You kind of have little mental breakdowns. You kind of overreact to it rather than being that most successful version of you and blessing your bills. Blessing that I always have money to pay my bills. Thank you, Lord. You know, stuff like that. You know, who are you being in every single state? Okay, that's what I want you to grasp here. And number 3 here, since I brought up Bob Proctor, okay, Bob Proctor's real meaning behind be honest with yourself. Okay, I love this. As most people lie to themselves in subtle ways. Isn't it so true? We lie to ourselves. Just like if I went home, you know, for the wrong reasons, I would lie to myself. I would kind of make up and tell myself that, oh no, I went home to really visit my family, haven't been home for a while. But the real reason I went home Yes, I want to visit family. Yes, I miss them. It's not that I don't, but the real reason is because I ran from Thailand. I ran when I know I drew a line. I drew a line in the sand, and it wasn't ready for me to leave yet. You understand? Okay. Listen, most people lie to themselves in subtle ways. I'm not running. I just need a break. I just miss home. It's not avoidance. That decision wasn't fear. It was logic. We start trying to be logical, over analytical. You know what I mean. That's what just you have to be brutally honest why you're doing things. Bob's whole message was you cannot change a lie. You can only change what you are willing to face. Your awareness here is you catching the lie before it acts out. That's the whole game. You see, that's the whole game Bob Proctor was trying to teach. And I love that. Is the whole, I'm kind of talking about myself, and you can put yourself in this, is that the whole awareness right here in my story is the awareness here is me, and it could be you, catching the lie before it acts out. What I mean, catching the lie before it acts out. Because remember, that old self is lying to you. Okay? Granted, that old self is trying to protect you, is trying to keep you in your comfort, is trying to keep you in your comfort zone, is trying to pull you back to your comfort zone. Okay, but remember, your dream life is not in your comfort zone. Okay, that's the big lie. Okay, the lie is you can have what you want in your comfort zone, but you can't. Okay, your dream life is outside of your comfort zone, my friends. Number 4, this is identity-based manifesting at the highest level. Okay, when you start kind of noticing really why you're doing deep decisions, you start noticing that, hey, I'm really acting like a kind of besides remaining, I'm a runner. You start being aware of that. Then you start being aware of your decisions, why you want to do stuff, and you connect you being a runner with it because that's what you're really feeling. You start being brutally honest with yourself and you stop it. Okay. It's not about not having the feelings. Okay. It's not about not having negative emotions. Okay. We're human. We're all going to have those things, but it's about catching yourself. You catch it and you stop acting it out. Okay. And this is why this is identity-based manifesting at the highest level. You're very, very advanced at this level. Listen, Neville said, you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. I think most of us have heard that. And Neville Goddard isn't the only person who said this. Thomas Troward said it. Joseph Murphy said it. Napoleon Hill said it. Bob Proctor said it. A lot of greats said this. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And listen, if you go home as a version of you who needs comfort, you will return to Thailand weaker and more confused. If you go home as the $15 million man, you literally bend the trip to that identity. Isn't it so true? I want you to put yourself in this scenario. Okay? Not my scenario. Put yourself in the awareness of your own scenario, what you're really doing. Listen. Now I'll change the color to this. There's 2 sides here. The old you and the new you. Okay, your old identity or that most successful version of you. Listen, if I would go home as that old me, the old version of me who needs comfort, who's running from things, like I would return to Thailand as a weaker, more confused version of me. I would actually return to Thailand as that old self. You understand what I'm saying? But if I would go home as that most successful version of me, if I would go home as a $15 million man, I would literally bend, listen to this, you and myself would literally bend that trip to that identity. That's how you bend reality, my friends. And when I would go home, you would treat your mom, you would walk differently, you would feel differently, your family reacts differently to you. Opportunities appear out of nowhere, all over the place, because you're being that most successful version of you. And let me put a disclaimer before we move on here really quick. Okay, the disclaimer is that This is why I tell you in different videos, I haven't said this for a while, this is why it's so great to do weekend getaways, to do identity. I call them kind of identity vacations, where you take a vacation, and it doesn't have to be a long vacation. You can start off doing this like one day a month, one day every couple months. Then you can progress to a weekend getaway. But you should at least do this one time every 3 months. Is do an identity vacation. And the whole mindset when you do an identity vacation is to actually, when you go on vacation, the whole time you're there, the whole time is you're acting like that most successful version of you. You're making decisions just like the most successful version of you. You're dressing like him. You're acting like him. You're carrying yourself like him. You're making decisions like him. You're spending money like him. You know what I mean? The whole time. Okay. And this is why I said you might want to just start off with one day. You know, maybe you go out to eat at nighttime, but the whole time you go out to eat, you're acting like the most successful version of you. Okay. You really, like, this is so, so important, because you really need to taste. You need to taste success, my friends. Okay. You need to taste what it really feels like to be that most successful version of you. And the more you taste it, the more you do it, the more you start becoming that person. You understand? And the more you start realizing that you're building trust within yourself. You understand? Number 5. Now I think we're almost done here. Yeah, number 5 is the last one. Number 5, from the manifesting master himself. You are not just observing something small, you're waking up to the deepest truth of manifestation. The real work is noticing the hidden state you're acting from. Isn't that so true? You see, our real work, okay, we stop with all the manifesting techniques, we kind of go to the meat and potatoes, you get to the root, okay? The root is identity work, okay? But the truth to identity work, the real truth here is, the real work is noticing the hidden state you're acting from. Noticing that secret you you're acting from. Noticing, like, that secret you. Your really internal beliefs, things that people don't even know about you. The secret of why you're really making decisions. Why are you really doing things? You don't understand? You understand what I'm saying? I don't need to spell it out for you. You see, most people never see this hidden layer, but you're seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm noticing it. I'm being aware of it, and so are you. And listen, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the great statement here. I love that so much. I'll highlight it. And I've said this in other videos. Once you become self-aware of what you're doing, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You understand? Once you see what you're really doing, you can't really unsee it. You're going to see it in every decision you make. You're going to see that when you start kind of going back to that old you, you're going to notice it right away. You're going to see it. You know what I mean? Just like with me, if I have that runner response, I'm going to see it right away. Okay. Now, like I said, it's not about not having these emotions. Okay. But it's catching yourself. I become aware of it so quickly, and then I don't act on it. I change. Once I see it, I see what I'm doing, and I ask, what would the most successful version of me do? And most of the time I can answer that question, most of the time, and I behave that way. I do it. Okay? And that's the same thing you should be doing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is the beginning of, listen to this, I love this. This is the beginning of faster manifesting, cleaner energy, fewer setbacks, less resistance, more power, and more stability. Because now you're not just taking action, you're being the man behind the action. You're actually being that most successful version of you. Okay. And remember, with manifesting, the reason why you really everything speeds up for you is because when you're behaving like that most successful version of you, when you want your dream car, your dream house, your dream career, whatever, okay, it's within your same consciousness, okay, but it's on a different vibrational plane. It's kind of like on a different identity. When you're operating from your lower identity, your dream life is not on this vibrational plane. But listen, once you act like and you behave like and make decisions like the most successful version of you, guess what? You pop to the same vibrational plane that your dream life is on, what you want is on. And once you stay there, okay, you start coming back there more and more and more. Like, try not to do this. Hold this hand still, go up and down. Okay. That's when manifesting becomes flipping quick. That's when you bend reality. Okay. That's when things come out of nowhere that you've been wanting for a long time, or even big things. It just comes out of nowhere. And the final truth here to wrap this up is you're not asking whether you should go home. You're asking, even in my story, kind of wrap up my story. No, I'm not asking whether I should go home. Now I'm really asking, who am I when I make the decision? Who am I being behind the decision? You understand? That's what I'm saying. Whatever the action is, the action doesn't matter. Okay, that's what I mean. Like, the action I'm taking is, okay, I want to go home. Okay, but who am I being behind that decision? Am I being that runner, that old identity? That's what I'm going to manifest from. Or am I being that most successful version of me behind that decision? Who are you being behind that decision? Who am I being behind that decision? Okay. And that is exactly what makes someone unstoppable. That's what makes you unstoppable, because you're mastering your superpowers. Okay, you becoming aware, and you become aware. Like, in the beginning, when you start becoming aware with this work, in the beginning you start becoming aware of, you start noticing you think negative. You start noticing, then you start noticing how much you really think negative. You understand, my friends? you, you, and that's the most frustrating phase. That's kind of in the beginning. You start noticing, like, holy hell, like, I didn't realize I was so negative. I didn't realize my mind goes in the gutter as much as it flipping does. And you kind of graduate that phase. You might stay in it for a while. And you start having maybe affirmations, robotic affirmations, or certain things you say that kind of get you out of states and stuff like that. But your awareness keeps on getting more and more advanced. It's like a muscle. Okay, it's like you're going to the gym. You haven't been to the gym for a while. You can't hardly make it through your workouts. You understand? You're sore as shit when you come home or the next day. But you keep on going to the gym, you get stronger. You can make it through your workouts. Your workouts are longer. You can push it harder in your workouts. You stop being sore. Okay, you become more advanced. Okay, your mind is a muscle. Awareness is a muscle. The power of awareness is a muscle. So once you kind of stay with it, you kind of start mastering your mind a little bit. But then what happens is you start becoming aware of actions you're taking, decisions you're making. You start becoming aware of you being indecisive, or being over analytical, or being obsessive. Okay, you start becoming aware of bigger habits you do. Then you start becoming aware of like what we're talking about in this video. You start becoming aware of why am I really making this decision? You know what I mean? And that really exposes the secret you. That really exposes the secret me that only me knows. Okay. So I kind of like that analogy. It's your mind's a muscle. Okay, awareness is a muscle. It gets better, and that's why this is so powerful. When we wrap up this video, let me get this notification off there. Every time I do videos, they flip and pop on, and they never go away. Once I wipe it, another one comes on. And this is why, my friends, this makes you unstoppable. Makes myself unstoppable. Because the more you master yourself, the more you master your thoughts, the more you really master your deeper meanings behind your actions, okay? The more you pay attention to your feeling states, what Neville Goddard would talk about, is your feeling states behind your decisions, okay? I mean, it's just like if you're doing something that makes you feel poor, well then stop doing that thing that makes you feel poor. Or, you need to change your state. Like if you're buying something and it makes you feel poor, the action itself has nothing to do with anything. I could be buying a car and buying a car makes me feel poor. Well, there's a couple things there. Okay, either I'm buying a fixer-upper or a junk car or whatever that puts me in that state, or just from the fact that I'm spending money gives me scarcity thoughts and it makes me feel poor. So the action itself has nothing to do with anything. It's my feeling state around it. Okay, it's the feeling I'm giving it. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the action. The action is meaningless. It's our feeling state around it. It's the energy we give it. It's what we tell ourselves. But other than that, my friends, tribe and YouTube fam, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Other than that, peace out. Remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.